Tears of Kingdom can be surprisingly disappointing. Like it can be good, but it can also be disappointing. Uh, if you look in this picture of this statue thing, you have the three top. Now, I love the Yoshi secret. Don't get me wrong. I love the Yoshi secret. Okay. Now, of course, we're going to use three Triforce pieces. Like I've told you, Maya, all that stuff. Like Maya is like, you definitely have a Maya headpiece. In the middle, you see the Maya headpiece. So, I mean, overall, it's good. It's good. But, like, it's just like the problem with it. Okay, the biggest problem that has with this, okay, is Yoshi. You don't want to diminish Ocarina of Time's Yoshi thing, but they like doing it kind of like a haunting, which I do. I see that Nintendo. I see that's pretty good. But like for me, I want to see another thing. I know there's another thing. I haven't told about the other thing. Okay, been respectful to Nintendo. And the reason I complain about this, like an actual complaint about this, is it's not just the fact that basically Breath of the Wild and Tears of Kingdom are like a sequel kind of sequence game, which is kind of rough because normally Zelda you gotta ask for a lot in Zelda. Okay, like you have to ask for a ton in Zelda because that's what separates a good Zelda game, and that's what separates a Zelda game. You know, like a game that's just a Zelda game. Um, but like, what makes me a little mad about it is that not just the fact that they're not even doing that. It's the fact that I like the Shadow of Colossus developers, so I'll be nice to it, you know. But like, if I was to give like a realistic review, okay, of Zelda Tears of Kingdom, it would be a little harsh. It would be a little harsh because we are taxing the game up. You know, we're getting like a 67. Now, people will argue you could find a way to get it for $40, but so sometimes that's kind of hard to do. But $67, you know, and I do think they're doing good. I think they did good with Tears of Kingdom, but they could have done better. I know they could have done better, but like, I mean, I understand the purpose. I mean, Metroid Prime 4, all they got to do at the end of the day is make Metroid Prime 4 good. If they make that good, I'll be fine. I'll be fine, but they better make Metroid Prime 4 good. That's all I got to say with that. But like, yeah, Tears of Kingdom, dude. Like some people want the angle of like, because we know it's a good game, but they want the angle, like the angle of why it's kind of disattachment, right? Well, disattachment, which is pretty hard, where like a disattachment, like it's like when you bought the Nintendo Switch, you were happy, you know, you were happy that you were going to get Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I love Shin Megami Tensei 5, love it. But you were like happy. That was the huge excitement. The difference between like previous Nintendo systems is that you were straight up gonna get Shin Megami Tensei 5. You were gonna get Splatoon 3, you know. You were gonna get Splatoon 2. You were gonna get Xenoblade 2. And Xenoblade 2 is a very underrated gem because when you talk about all the Xenoblades, they were very critical on Xenoblade 2. I just do not understand why, because Mia was very good. Mia was very good voice actress. But like, it's crazy too because like, I mean, we had Astral Chain. So of course, with a game like Astral Chain, which was perfect, Astral Chain was perfect. It really was, because like normally I'm not really into like the kind of Devil May Cry games. I like that's to me. I'm not a big Devil May Cry fan, but if you can add customization, then I might actually play it. I might play it because I get to play it my own way, you know. But I get to actually do different things with it. But Zelda Tears of Kingdom, yes, it does a lot of things that are not too bad. Okay, like I mean, like even in this picture, we got curly hair, which curly hair is always good to have. But like, I think like it's doing good as it can. But I know that. When you're trying to compare it to really good games that you actually want to play, That's the biggest problem you run into, and that's a hard thing to do too. I'll be fair and say that's a hard thing to do, but it's not actually really too hard than you think. The Wii U Zelda demo that they showed, that was awesome. I just don't know what people are doing right now. Like, I actually really enjoyed that Wii U demo, and I was trying to tell people this a long time ago. The Wii U had a good OSC. And I knew the Wii U was a hard market for people in different ways, but it wasn't really a hard market when you thought about it. I mean, you got motion controlled Call of Duty Ghost, you got Xenoblade X, you got a bunch of interesting concepts, and if Nintendo really wants to know, I do miss the Wii U gamepad. I miss it because it was a DS feel. I miss it because there's a lot of cool ideas you could do. I mean, even I'm pretty sure Fallout would be really cool with a Wii U gamepad. Yeah, that's like Tears of Kingdom. It's a good game, but it's just like it's rushed a little bit, just a little bit rushed, not too much rushed. Okay, but it's a little bit rushed. That could actually put it around the 8 range, like an 8 out of 10. It really could. It just depends. Like doing a deep analysis review, an actual real review on Tears of Kingdom is a hard thing to do. I mean, you got to remember, just a lot of games come out with different concepts. There was even Recompile, and I love Recompile on the Xbox. I really do. I actually love Recompile. I really like the ideas that they had for Recompile. It wasn't too bad. There was it's really the determinant of when you're finding a game that you actually like, and that's the problem, because I understand if you're gonna, this is for all of you, if you're gonna make a Zelda tier list, you're gonna have to be critical. And you know what's crazy, I went to Breath of the Wild, and there's some cool things to really pay attention to in Breath of the Wild, the first Breath of the Wild, but like I tell people this all the time. People know who I am, really. Like Skyward Sword is just a very good one. It's the best, dude. It is. It literally is the best. I'm in disbelief every time. Wind Waker kind of competes with it also, but like just something about this Zelda Skyward Sword was just good enough. It actually had me sit down and want to re-see. That's when a game is good, if it can make you want to go back to it. Okay, but if it can't make you good, people are critical of Phantom Hourglass. I love Phantom Hourglass. I do. I really love it. I love the controls. I like the map. I like the hard dungeon, the ending dungeon. The ending dungeon was cool. I like the idea of how Princess Zelda had her knights and all that. Like her knights that she summons. I actually really like that idea. And my friend, she was playing Spirit Tracks, and Spirit Tracks was good. I did go back to Spirit Tracks, and Spirit Tracks was very good. It's just very critical because you're like comparing it to Zelda. You're comparing it to Zelda 2. You're comparing it to Seasons. You're comparing it to Minish Cap. Minish Cap is a very important one. I do find Minish Cap important. Awakening's kind of a puzzling one that's not too bad either. Awakening it's up there. It's a little bit of a challenge, but there is not the good news I can tell you. The good news I can tell you is that at least you get Skyward Sword. It's affordable, and you get it. That's actually a pretty good thing to have. I mean, they could very easily have just, skyrocketed Skyward Sword, and then you're like paying $90 or $100 for a game, and ideally you don't even know like the half of it. Like Xenoblade Wii is just Wii and 3DS. I think I don't know if the 3DS version went up, but I know the Wii version went up, and they are both games of preferred versions over the remake. The remake's okay in different ways, but like I feel like the remake, the DLC is very good in the remake, but like they could have worked a little bit more on the animations. But like I mean, I get it. I would save money too. I would save money because Xenoblade's a pretty big project. Yeah, see, that's what the overall it's really hard to see sometimes. Sometimes you gotta see something And yeah, sure, they make Zelda creepy. I mean, that's a pretty cool idea just to make Zelda Tears of the Kingdom creepy. So, I mean, that's why it always gets to the 9 range for me. It can always get to a 9 range, but like 8 out of 10 can happen. It can happen. And it just happens because of the high demand that you want. Like, I really want Prime 4 to be good. And they're competing with Metroid Dread, which was very good. Metroid Dread was very good, and it's not fair. It's not fair for Zelda fans because like Dread was just very, 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 very good. Three Houses was very good, and that snuck under the radar. That was actually really good. Um, and I told you, like, there's no fanboyism. I was talking about Recompile. I love Recompile. There was something I just loved to Recompile, like the freedom. Uh, there's a ton of games. It just really depends how a game moves you. Currently, right now, I'm playing even this painting game, and I thought it was going to be silly, like another indie game, but it was different, and I liked how different it was. I forget, it was like this dog painting game on the Xbox, and it was really fun. It was actually fun, and I was like, wow, that's actually not too bad. That is not too bad because they kind of gave it a Mole Mania feel too, which I appreciate anybody who's wanting to have a Mole Mania feel. Mole Mania is just a nerd game. It is the definition of I'm a nerd, I am a nerd, I'm a nerd. It's a game you're gonna buy. You're gonna literally buy a Game Boy just to play Mole Mania. You're gonna buy a Game Boy Pocket or whatever, or Game Boy Color. Um, I don't think they should have ever took down the 3DS market for you to buy Mole Mania. I don't think that, but they just had to. It does make sense though. I mean, it's so silly. It just makes sense because Splatoon 3 is good. Splatoon 3 is the one I'm trying to think about. Yeah, Splatoon 3 story is good. Yeah, I prefer Splatoon 3 over. I'm telling you, no fanboyism or anything. I just prefer Splatoon over Zelda right now. But like that's the point, though. They need to have some kind of drive to make you play the other games, you know. But and I really like Link's Awakening. I haven't gotten a copy of Link's Awakening, the remake, but I do like it. I really like it. I love it. I love it, dude. I do love it. It's really hard for Zelda. See, Zelda fans, we've just been spoiled so many times. We've had different concepts. We've had different gameplay elements. We've had just cool things. And like Wind Waker, Wind Waker is like the closest thing I see competing with Skyward Sword. Maybe even Majora's Mask, because Majora's Mask I really love. That's why I hate talking about Zelda games, man. Like Majora's Mask, good. Zelda will constantly punch you in the face, dude. It really will. Like you could just go buy those 3 Zeldas. You know, you could go buy Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword, and I guarantee you'd have a fun time. Ocarina of Time is fun too. I'm very critical on Ocarina of Time though because I'm a Majora's Mask guy, but and I'm going to tell you overall, no fanboyism. I'd rather be a Majora's Mask guy because at least Majora's Mask was willing to gamble. It was willing to gamble right away. Ocarina of Time does some good things, of course, but like I love Majora's Mask because it was just like Anuma said it was a good mess. It really was. It was a good mess. I mean, having a milk bar, having a 4 system, having time systems, having different masks. Collecting all the masks was cool. That was that actual Zelda puzzle feel. The beach was cool. The beach dungeon I hated. I really hated that beach dungeon. Not the dungeon under the water. I hated the mini dungeon because that thing. I loved it because I hated it. I was like, oh man, this son of a gun. And like Twilight Princess is like, I'm critical on Twilight Princess, but Twilight Princess does have some good moments. It does have good moments. But if you're wondering why Zelda's always good, it's just because Zelda is. I always talk about this cringe aspect. It's a cringe aspect of showing you how stupid you are. that's what's so cool about it. It's a cringe aspect rather than just like looking Zelda, the fun elements and everything. When you look at Zelda, when you're playing a Zelda game, it has to have that feel. It has to have an odd feel. It has to just have a like, man, this feels like a Zelda game. But if it doesn't have a feel like a Zelda game, and that's the thing that's been making people mad at Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of Kingdom, okay? The reason that we're mad at it is, yes, we find some of the things interesting, but we don't like no dedicated puzzles, check, right? The shrines are a little bit better in Tears of Kingdom, so that's why it's hard to be critical on Tears of Kingdom sometimes. But still, look, I just answered my own thing. This is what I mean. I answered my own thing, okay? So, yeah, you got a remake, but think about that. In Breath of the Wild, you got a remake dungeon, okay? In Tears of Kingdom, you got a remake dungeon. That's a mean insult. That is good how scary it is, but like I find it a mean insult because I still feel like there's another dungeon they're not showing. I feel like they just want to guilt. So I actually would put Zelda Tears of Kingdom at 8-10 range. You never know. I could put it at 7. You never know. It's like Breath of the Wild, I could just easily put it in the 9 range because Breath of the Wild was it just felt odd. But I don't know. Like maybe when it grows on to me that I just don't like Zelda Breath of the Wild, I don't like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it will all make sense. And it really does make sense. I mean, you're trying to live up to Mole Mania. You're trying to live up to Soul Hackers. You're trying to live up to actual games. You're trying to live up to State of Decay, and people don't even State of Decay is actually not doing too bad. I really like State of Decay 2 because State of Decay 2, it seemed like they wanted to pay attention to WWE Dave Reckoning. It seemed like they actually wanted to make a decent game. But it's like even like it's really hard. You're in a hard gaming market now. You are in a hard gaming market. People haven't really they've been critical on Sword and Shield. They've been critical on what's that dang game called Scarlet, but Sword and Shield very good. People really messed up on that. Sword and Shield was really good, but Scarlet, I wasn't mad at Scarlet. I was not mad at Scarlet. Scarlet was good. I actually liked that Scarlet was willing to do new things versus like it was willing to have a different feel. I mean, like what, a game's gonna be glitchy, but that's what you kind of love in a game, is for it to be glitchy, and that's probably one of the benefits of Tears of Kingdom. Also, is Tears of Kingdom's not trying to be like all polished like Breath of the Wild. Okay, so if you want like an actual review, I'll try and give you an actual review of Tears of the Kingdom. It has customization, it has decent ideas, so we can still keep it in the 8 range. Okay, we can keep it in the 8 range, but I'm telling you, that is rough because Zelda games are normally never in the 8 range, and this is the first time a Zelda game has been in the 8 range. So but Zelda is like this is like, I mean, Zelda was competing with Mario Galaxy, dude, and people don't understand Mario Galaxy. They don't understand gem games are really hard to compete with. Sonic and the Secret Rings, that's actually a gem game, and people don't even realize how much of a gem game that is. That really is a gem game. Black Knight, I just sped through it. I sped through Black Knight because I've been playing so much of Secret Rings. But yeah, an actual game, and then like when you go, you have to grind down for an actual game. With Red Steel, I would want a Red Steel 3. You heard it from me. I'd rather have a Red Steel 3 than a Zelda game. I mean, what other perfect time? You have 2 Switch Joy-Cons, and you get to do sword fights, and you have light Joy-Cons. But Zelda is so powerful that people will buy it, and they'll be like, "I'll buy Zelda," and it's like, oh, buy Zelda. Oh, buy. There are some questionable games that people buy on Nintendo Switch. I'm telling you, there are some questionable games, and it just gives them kind of and then I just don't even like. I'm glad that Bomberman 2 is coming out, but I don't like that we'll never get back to Bomberman 64. That was actually a Bomberman game's new concept. We won't get back to Bomberman Game Boy either, but yeah, it's when you're actually reviewing a game, dude, it has to be really good. Like SmackDown versus Raw 2007. When you're playing a video game, it has to have something. Like 2007 was willing to do hit sticks, which I thought was a really good game control concept. Your game has to stand out. It just has to stand out. And what doesn't help too is you have Knuckles running around, and the way Knuckles runs around in Sonic Adventure Battle 2, which is another game, a good game that you'll always play, Sonic Adventure. So going from playing Sonic Adventure and then you go directly into playing Zelda game and he's running like that again, it gets kind of boring. Just a little bit boring.